from those two movies we can compare and learn that how one situation can develop two different kind of aspects of a story. So this was a great show off of two movies. I like it. I have never done it before, and it was great learning for me, and I would try to do it again.
I kind of got the sense of what you were saying, but it seems to me that whereas the 1951 version, the black and white version, was more like, we will prevail, we're the good guys in the end. This one almost sort of dooms the characters because they distrusted each other. You got Kurt Russell and you got Keith David, who you're probably going to die, probably going to freeze to death, partly because of their suspicion of each other.
What else could they do?
If they, I don't know.
It's also a stripped down situation of everything's been destroyed. And it opens with that vast shot of even though we're now in this camp and have stayed in the camp for the last part of the film, the opening shot was the vastness.
Yeah.
The vastness, emptiness. And they lingered on it while the dog was running. So in our subconscious, we know where they are, and they are nowhere. And they have no connections, no... So you really still think that there's a...
Yeah, I'm going to stick to that. I think that the film is thematically telling us that man against man will do each other.
Yeah. I think that they further explored the story. They made it further vast.
Oh, sure.
Rather than 1951. That remained very indoor thing,
Much more interior.
Interior thing. But in this film, they made it very outdoor thing.
The black and white version one was also much more anti-science. The doctor, with evil goatee, he was like, we must be friends with this monster, etc., etc.
Even if we have to lose some of humanity.
Even if we have to die to befriend it. Yeah, and ultimately he gets hit. And the military guys who stick together sort of prevail over the monster.
And they killed him with electric star, the shock.
Yeah.
That was strange thing,
It's weird because they decided to use different, in that one, they tried fire but it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then they tried electricity and then that worked. But in this version with the Kurt Russell, the fire worked very well. And
But ultimately it blew the thing to pieces.
Yeah, that's it.
Dynamite will work with everything.
But I feel
that's how they killed the shark in Jaws.
Yes.
Blew it up.
That's so funny. I was thinking the same thing. Or even Deep Blue Sea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one where
Hello, Cool J? Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
But so funny. I feel like even if you look at Deep Blue Sea, it's kind of like that had that similar ending to this one because the two guys at the end, LL Cool J, and the other gentleman that was fighting the shark, was sitting at the end, and they're like, and I'm like, so what do we do now? and then all of a sudden it's like, well, you sure there was like 3 sharks? And he took his feet out of the water slowly. So I feel like there's kind of a similarity to that. Let's see what happens next.
One thing I love about the original film was the blocking. Most of the shots are group shots, yet there's a whole sense of activity going on between different people, and you never feel it's artificial. And I can't really think of any other film I've seen that had almost exclusively group shots.
Right.
I mean, can you guys think of any?
No.
I can't think because I've never been so struck as I was by that film. So I would say that to watch the original just to see how successful, because that also meant they did away with other coverage of close-ups and all the other, and they made that work. So I think that film's a great example of
directorial blocking.
Yeah. The other thing in terms of, I feel that the remake is more, look at the director or the story writer, whoever was really responsible for the story, looked at that original and said, I like the overall structure of they find something, they don't know what it is, but we have to modernize it and we have to make it more dangerous and bring in the suspicion among people, which is not at all there. But the other thing is, but let's use some things for inspiration. Like in that one you have dogs. Let's repurpose a dog. You know, there are a few things that they did that they took. There was one other thing that we saw, and I'm trying to remember what that other thing was.
Pointing the gun.
That one guy who's been frightened by the thing points the gun at the commander.
Yeah.
Okay. But instead, they took that, and with the Norwegians, they end up getting killed because they're pointing the gun. So I'm just saying that I think it's amazing with a different headset how you can take a feature that you like and then make it more important or blow it in a whole different direction, but it still is being inspired by the original. So you said at the beginning you didn't like horror films.
Yeah, but I think I don't mind them.
when there's a good characterization
I like the screenplay. It's very well written, you know. It's the
Which one?
The new one.
The new one?
New one.
The story is based on a short story, from what I understand, about these group of scientists and everybody who's doing research in the North Pole or some cold area where they're sort of invaded by an alien from outer space. But in the short story, the alien can sort of take your form, so they look like any one of us. But the 1951 version doesn't do that. That version was just a monster who has some sort of plant-like ability, so he can regrow his limbs. This film, the 82 version,
they went in depth. They went deep.
Really went in deep. Sort of follow along with the short story. And
so then you're saying that they actually, for the original source, went closer to the original source than the first film made.
Yeah.
You guys know The Wizard of Oz? Do you know The Wiz?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Michael Jackson, Diana Ross film. When I first saw when I first saw The Wiz, and I had loved and had a strong understanding of The Wizard of Oz, I was like, wait a minute, this film is kind of disjointed. They do this and they do this and they have this, and you don't find the bad witch until halfway or more to the film, whereas in The Wizard of Oz, the bad witch is a through line who even appears in alternate form in Kansas before becoming the bad witch. And also, when I saw the sparkling slippers in The Wiz, they're silver. And I was like, man, that's a horrible production design. Why didn't they go for that ruby red? The Wiz actually follows more the structure of the original book, which was much more episodic, did not have the bad witch as the through line all the way through, and had silver shoes. So it's really interesting that a filmmaker might also, in making a remake, really research the times and research anything that inspired and use this broader sort of pool of inspiration.
The Kurt Russell version, a lot more scary. I mean, I was jumping out when you closed in on the
see where the blood comes out of the picture disc. First time I saw it, I was like, ah!